In the deepest, darkest void of space, a silver ship cuts through the eternal night. Its destination, a dead world, a ghost planet named Vareth 9. For over 1,000 years, no one has dared to set foot on its surface. It's a world torn in two, one half a raging inferno of red flame, the other a silent desert of white ice. The reason for this cosmic schism has been lost to time, until today. On the bridge of the starship, Commander Rian Holt stares at the bifurcated planet through the main viewport. Behind him, his crew whispers in hushed, nervous tones. They trade old spacers' tales. Some call Vareth 9 cursed, others holy ground. But Rian feels something else entirely. A strange, insistent pull in his chest. A magnetic thrum, as if the planet itself is calling his name across the vacuum. He turns from the glass, his decision made. "Prepare landing sequence," he orders, his voice quiet but firm. "We'll touch down on the Terminator right between the fire and the frost." The ship descends, piercing the chaotic atmosphere. Outside, lightning flashes. A furious red on the port side, a chilling blue on the starboard. It's as if the very sky is at war with itself. They land gently on the borderline, the demarcation between two extremes. One step out the airlock leads to scorched, burning dust. A step in the other direction leads to solid, frozen ground. The air itself is a paradox, crackling with an impossible mixture of heat and cold that prickles the skin. There are no signs of life, no movement, just a profound, unsettling silence. Dr. Kell, the mission's chief scientist, deploys her survey drone. Its sensors begin painting a map of the immediate area. After a few minutes, her voice cuts through the comms, sharp with disbelief. "Commander," she says, her tone tight. "There's something below us, something organic. I'm getting a human DNA signature." Rian freezes. Human, out here, on a world forbidden for a millennium. It's impossible. It defies all logic, all history. Without another word, the crew begins to dig. They work through layers of volcanic ash and compacted ice, a geological record of the planet's violent history. Hours pass. Then their tools strike something hard, not rock, metal, smooth, ancient, and utterly alien. They clear the surface with painstaking care, and slowly a shape emerges from its 1,000-year tomb. It's a statue of a human figure, kneeling in a posture of reverence or sorrow. The material is like polished black stone, but when Rian touches it, a strange warmth radiates into his glove. "Who could have made this?" one of the crew members murmurs, staring at the intricate design. It doesn't match any known period of human art or engineering. Suddenly, the statue's eyes flicker with an internal light. Everyone instinctively steps back, hearts pounding. For a second, they dismiss it as a trick of the bizarre lighting, a reflection. But then, it blinks. The temperature plummets instantly. The restless wind dies, silenced. A deep, guttural rumble shakes the very ground beneath their feet. The statue's stone lips part, and a voice echoes not in the air but directly inside every mind. A voice that is deep, cold, and impossibly ancient. "Who broke the oath?" Dr. Kell lets out a scream of pure terror. But the sound vanishes as it leaves her lips, her voice frozen in midair. The entire crew stands paralyzed, a thin layer of frost instantly encasing their bodies, their expressions locked in fear. They are living statues. Only Rian can move. He looks around in horror. His crewmates turn to ice. The air around him is a torment, burning his lungs with heat and freezing them with cold in the same breath. The world is utterly silent, except for a single, chilling whisper that slithers directly into his ear. "Rian Holt, you shouldn't have come." The statue's eyes ignite, glowing with the intensity of molten rock. Fire erupts from the ground, columns of flame licking at the ice right beside it. And within that fire, a shadow begins to coalesce, taking on a form. The silhouette of a woman made entirely of living flame. Her eyes are pools of liquid gold, and they fixate on Rian. "The oath is broken," her voice rings out, a harmony of crackling fire. "And now, the balance ends. The entire planet begins to shake violently. The sky above rips apart. One half becomes a sea of fire, the other a swirling vortex of ice and storm. Back on his ship, alarms blare, a symphony of electronic panic. Rian runs desperately toward his frozen crew, shouting their names, his voice swallowed by the roaring chaos. No response. They are gone, lost in their icy prisons. Then, just as a blinding white light consumes his vision, he hears one final, overwhelming sound. A heartbeat. Loud, heavy, and it is not his own. When the light fades, Rian is alone. The inferno has dimmed. The frost has receded. The crew is gone. The statue is gone. And in the disturbed ash where it once knelt, a single glowing mark is burned into the ground. A perfect circle, bisected by a line, one half filled with the sigil of a flame, the other with a snowflake. Rian drops to his knees beside it, his breath coming in ragged gasps. He doesn't know how, but the mark feels familiar. It feels human, like a memory he can't quite grasp. "What are you trying to tell me?" he whispers to the empty air, to the silent world. In response, the mark on the ground glows brightly one last time, a pulse of silent communication, and then vanishes into the ash. Above him, the planet's two halves rumble, settling into an uneasy truce. And from deep beneath the ice, from the very core of Vareth 9, a distant voice, neither male nor female but something far older, whispers into his soul, "The oath will wake again, in you." Rian Holt opens his eyes, not to the biting cold of Vareth 9, but to a world bathed in crimson light. He's standing in a field of fire. Rivers of flame flow like water, licking at the scorched earth, yet they don't burn him. The air hums, alive, whispering his name over and over. "Where am I?" he says softly, his voice swallowed by the roar of the inferno. A voice answers from everywhere at once, calm, impossibly strong and ancient. "You stand inside the heart of the flame. The oath remembers you, Rian Holt." Rian spins around. Out of the churning fire, a shape begins to form, the figure of a woman, sculpted from living flame. Her eyes are pools of molten gold, her hair a burning solar flare, but her voice carries an ocean of sorrow. "Who are you?" Rian asks, his own voice barely a whisper. "I am the guardian of fire," she replies, her form shimmering with heat. "Once I walked among humans. Once I trusted them." She takes a step closer, and the very ground trembles under her fiery feet. "You broke the oath, Rian. The balance of fire and frost has ended." Rian shakes his head, confusion warring with a primal fear. "No, I didn't break anything. I don't even know what you're talking about." The guardian tilts her head and flames dance around her hand, coalescing into a small burning sigil, one half fiery red, the other an icy white. "This is the oath," she says, her voice resonating with power. Fire for strength, frost for control. When they stay together, life endures. When they divide, everything dies. Her golden eyes lock onto his. "Once, long ago, humans ruled the stars. They built worlds of flame and tamed oceans of ice. But in their pride, they swore an oath to never again wield both powers. They separated them, hoping to prevent their own destruction. The flames around them surge, growing brighter, hotter. Rian feels the heat pressing against his chest, an immense pressure that feels both foreign and strangely familiar. He doesn't understand the words, but something deep inside him, a forgotten memory, a buried feeling, begins to stir. "Why do you call me by name?" he whispers, the heat making it hard to breathe. "Because," the guardian answers, her voice dropping to a grave tone, "you carry the spark of fire inside you, and if you fall, the galaxy burns again." Suddenly, the world shakes violently. The fire turns dark, a venomous crimson, hungry and violent. A deep rumble echoes through the air, and the guardian's calm expression shatters into one of pure fear. "It's too soon," she says, her voice strained. "The frost is waking." She reaches out to him, her hand of pure flame touching his chest. Pain explodes through Rian's body, a searing agony that whites out his vision. A flash, then absolute darkness. Rian gasps, his eyes flying open. He's back in the real world, lying in the frozen dust near the crippled ship. Smoke rises from the ground where the strange statue once stood. He scrambles to his feet, his heart pounding. His crew. Where is his crew? Only ashes remain, scattered by the desolate wind. No, this can't be real. He stumbles toward the ship. Its main door is half melted, twisted metal glowing cherry red. Inside, the control panel flickers erratically. The ship's AI speaks, its voice a cold, emotionless tone that cuts through his panic. Warning! One life form missing, Dr. Kell. Rian freezes, his blood turning to ice. Missing? She's dead. The AI interrupts, its voice unwavering. Correction. Dr. Kell's vitals have been detected. Location, North Zone, coordinates, ice region. Rian's heart stops for a moment. He looks through the viewport at the endless, jagged wall of white ice stretching beyond the horizon. A place no living thing could survive. How could she be alive, in there? He doesn't wait for an answer. He grabs his survival gear, his mind racing. Stepping back outside, he sees it. The shimmering line between the planet's fire and frost now glows with an impossible intensity, as if it's alive. Half the sky burns a furious red. The other half flickers with an ethereal, chilling blue. He feels a cold crawl down his spine, the unmistakable feeling of being watched by invisible eyes. In the distance, the snow on the horizon begins to rise and swirl, not from the wind, but as if being gathered by an unseen hand, forming a shape. And then, a voice, soft, but crystal clear, echoes across the frozen plains. A different voice. Come to me, Rian Holt, before the fire consumes you. The words make his breath catch in his throat. He knows that voice. 'Tis the same one that whispered his name in his mind before, but now it asks colder, softer, almost human. He looks once more at the ashes that were his friends. Then he turns his gaze to the daunting ice field ahead. If you're real, he whispers to the wind, his voice raw with grief and determination. I'll find you, I'll end this. He takes his first step toward the frost side of Vareth 9. Behind him, hidden within the flames, the Guardian of Fire watches silently, her golden eyes filled with an ancient sorrow. He walks the path again, she whispers to the roaring fire. May the stars forgive him. The wind howls, a symphony of fire and snow as Rian Holt disappears into the heart of the storm. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more adventures. I'll see you in the next one. The storm shows no mercy. Above the desolate world of Vareth 9, snow and fire wage war in the sky. I am Commander Rian Holt, and I walk this ice desert alone. Every step I take cracks the frozen ground beneath my boots, a constant reminder of how fragile this world is. Behind me, the border of flame glows, a distant, faint memory of warmth in a universe that's slowly dying. For hours, I've been following the AI's signal, a lonely beacon guiding me into the heart of the North Zone. A calm voice, not my own, repeats in my comm, life signs detected, human origin. It's a sliver of hope in this wasteland, but with every mile the temperature plummets. Frost, like skeletal white vines, begins to crawl over my armor. The wind howls, and through the static it almost sounds like words, whispers I can almost understand. Father, come home. I freeze. That voice, it's not Dr. Kell. It's a child's voice, soft, yet heavy with a sorrow that feels ancient. A knot tightens in my chest. I push forward, my heart pounding against my ribs, driven by a fear I can't name. Finally, I reach a valley of crystal ice towers, shimmering under a pale, ethereal blue light. And at the center, a shape lies curled on the ground, small, fragile, glowing with a faint, internal luminescence. I move closer, my boots crunching on the ice. I kneel beside her, my voice a rough whisper against the wind. Hey, are you alive? You're late, Father of Fire. My heart stammers in my chest. What? What did you call me? I stumble back, a wave of confusion and fear washing over me. No, I'm not your father. I'm just a man, a human. Her words carry a weight far beyond her years, resonating with a truth I feel but don't understand. Something deep inside me, a memory buried in my very blood, begins to stir. Do you know where my crew is? A woman, Dr. Kell? Her gaze falls. A single tear of pure ice slides down her cheek. When it hits the ground, it shatters into a perfect crystal. She's here, she whispers, pointing a delicate finger to the ice beneath our feet. The frost keeps her safe. I look down and my breath catches in my throat. Through the impossibly clear ice, I see a shape. It's Dr. Kell, frozen perfectly still, her eyes closed as if in a peaceful sleep. A raw, primal scream builds inside me, and I slam my fist against the unyielding ice. Let her go! The child gently touches my gauntlet. Instantly, a crippling cold shoots up my arm. My skin turns a pale, deathly blue. The chill spreads with terrifying speed, a wave of icy agony. Stop! What are you doing to me? Her silver eyes fill with tears, not of sorrow but of warning. You carry the fire. If you touch the frost too long, it will consume you. I wrench my hand away, shaking uncontrollably from a pain that feels both hot and cold. Underneath the layer of frost, my veins glow with a faint crimson light. Half of my body is burning, the other half freezing. The two forces are tearing me apart. Why are you calling me fire? What is this oath? Long ago, before the fall, there were two guardians, fire and frost. They were both human, they loved each other, they promised to keep the galaxy in balance. That was the oath. Her voice softens, becoming a sorrowful lullaby. But fire broke it, and frost slept to heal the wound. I stare at her, the air stolen from my lungs. Are you saying, I'm fire? Slowly, not the spark inside you, the memory, the power that once shaped suns. A violent denial shakes me to my core. No, I didn't break any oath. The galaxy doesn't care what you believe, she says, her voice a chilling whisper. The oath has already chosen you, and now both sides are waking. A low rumble echoes from deep beneath the ice, a heartbeat. Then another, stronger. The ground beneath us cracks and a brilliant blue light erupts from the fissures. I grab the child and pull her away just as shards of ice shoot upward like crystalline knives. Light bursts from the cracks, painting ancient, glowing symbols across the valley walls. The child clings to me, her voice a desperate whisper through the chaos. When fire and frost meet again, the stars will remember humanity. An explosion of light and force throws us to the ground. When my vision clears, I see the mark again, the same circle divided by flame and snow, glowing ominously on the back of my frozen hand. My breath fogs the air. I look over at the child who now lies still beside me. What are you? I ask softly. She opens her eyes one last time, a faint smile on her lips. I am the last memory of frost. And you, Rian Holt, she whispers. You are the reason she still dreams. The ice around us crackles and groans. A deep, thunderous roar shakes the planet. Not from the sky above, but from the very core of Vareth 9. The balance is breaking. Again. I lift the child's small, cold body into my arms and look toward the horizon. In the distance, a faint red glow rises, a beacon of fire calling me back, calling me home. I hold her close and whisper to the storm. Then we finish what we started. The storm was over, but the silence that followed was loud. Vareth 9 was no longer a quiet, frozen world. The sky itself was split. One half burned a furious, angry red, while the other glowed with a deep, ethereal blue. It was as if the planet had finally woken up from a long, troubled sleep, and it was restless. I walked slowly through the frost valley, the ice child cradled in my arms. She felt impossibly light, like I was holding a piece of frozen air. Every so often her eyes would flicker open, and she'd whisper fragments of things that sounded like they were pulled from a dream. The stars remember. They still burn for us. I didn't get most of it, but I knew one thing for sure. Something inside me had changed. Ever since she touched me, I could feel it. A war in my own veins. Heat and cold, battling for control. both growing stronger with every beat of my heart. I finally reached a ridge where the two worlds collided. Firelight from one side met the jagged edge of ice from the other. Below me, the planet was tearing itself apart. Rivers of molten lava flowed right alongside massive glaciers, and where they touched, they hissed and screamed, sending plumes of steam into the fractured sky. It looked like the planet was bleeding out. Suddenly, my vision went blurry. A wave of dizziness hit me, and I dropped to my knees, clutching my head. Memories that weren't mine, flooded my mind. I saw two figures, human, standing before an endless sea of stars. One was cloaked in living fire, the other crowned with shimmering frost. They were holding hands as the entire galaxy spun around them like a cosmic carousel. A voice, or rather two voices speaking as one, echoed in the vision. We are balance, fire for life, frost for peace. The image warped, shifting to one of absolute chaos. War. Entire worlds were burning. Suns were being extinguished by encroaching ice. Armies of pure light and deep shadow clashed, tearing apart everything in their path. I could hear the screams, so many voices, human and alien, all begging for the destruction to stop. And then, just as suddenly, silence. The two guardians stood apart now, their eyes filled with a sorrow so deep it felt like it could swallow stars. You loved too much, the Frost Guardian whispered, her voice like cracking ice. And you forgot what the oath was for. The Fire Guardian's reply was a low, rumbling inferno of grief. Love is not a sin, but losing you is. They reached for each other, their hands touching one last time, and in that instant the galaxy shattered into a storm of flame and snow. I gasped, collapsing onto the frozen ground, the vision finally releasing its grip. The Ice Child was kneeling beside me. She placed her small, cold hand on my face. Her voice was quiet, but it cut through the ringing in my ears. You saw it, the memory war. I was breathing heavily, the echoes of screams still bouncing around in my skull. That was real. It was, she confirmed. Your ancestors were the Guardians. Humans weren't just weak explorers stumbling through the cosmos. You were the makers, the ones who built worlds, and the ones who destroyed them. I stared at her, my mind struggling to process it all. Then, why did we forget? Why don't we remember any of this? The child looked toward the horizon, where the fiery half of the sky was glowing brighter, pulsing like a wound. Because forgetting was the punishment. Fire burned too hot, too deep. Frost slept too long, too cold. To save what was left, they sealed themselves away, so that humanity could have a fresh start without the crushing weight of that power. A surge of something, anger maybe, or just raw energy coursed through me. I clenched my fists. But now the seal is breaking. As if on cue, the ground beneath us rumbled, a deep, resonant groan that shook my very bones. And then I saw it. A streak of light cut across the sky. Not a star. A ship. I activated my suit's visor, zooming in. It wasn't just one ship. It was a fleet. Sleek, black, menacing vessels, arranging themselves in a perfect predatory circle around the planet. Their signals were broadcasting openly, and the message was unmistakable. Weapons armed and ready. They're here, I muttered, my voice barely a whisper. The child's eyes, which had been full of an ancient sadness, now darkened. Who? The Rememberers, she said, her tone grim. They watched the memory war from a safe distance. They saw what your ancestors were capable of. To them, humans are either gods to be worshipped or monsters to be slain. They swore an oath of their own. If humanity ever rediscovered its power, they would be there to extinguish it before the galaxy could burn again. A hot, fierce anger rose in my chest. It felt familiar, like the fire from the vision. They think they can just erase us? I looked down at my hand. Faintly, just beneath the skin, a pattern glowed, a swirling mark of both fire and frost. Let them come. The child shook her head, her expression urgent. You can't. If you fight them with that power, the oath will break completely. The unrestrained fire and frost will consume this world, and everything with it. Then what do we do? Just let them destroy us? I asked, frustrated. She closed her eyes, as if listening to something far away. You must remember the rest of the story. The truth wasn't just about war and punishment. Only by knowing the whole of who you are can you choose a different path. As she spoke, I could almost feel it. Whispers on the wind, carried by the storm. The voices of humans long dead, spirits trapped in this place calling out through time. Rian Holt, they seem to echo in my mind. The oath is not a weapon. It is a choice. I heard the Fire Guardian's voice again. Not angry this time, but gentle and full of that same crushing sorrow. Choose, or all will burn. The Ice Child gripped my hand tightly. Her eyes opened and they were shimmering with an impossible light. One pupil glowing red, the other a brilliant blue. It's time, she said, her voice filled with a new resolve. We have to go to the core. That's where the truth sleeps. I followed her gaze to the horizon, to a massive crack that split the planet in two. It was a glowing chasm that plunged deep into the world's heart. Flames licked up from one side, while plumes of ice smoke billowed from the other. And right at the center, a soft, powerful light pulsed like a steady heartbeat. The heart of Vareth 9, I whispered, a sense of awe and terror washing over me. The place where fire and frost first met. The child nodded. And the place where you must choose again. I took a deep breath, the swirling air tasting of ash and ozone. I took a step forward, toward the chasm, the storm of fire, frost, and memory now swirling around me, becoming a part of me. High above, the alien fleet began its descent, their dark ships like vultures circling a kill. They had no idea. They thought they were flying into a forgotten battlefield, but they were flying straight into the heart of a sleeping god. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. It's getting intense, and I can't wait to see what happens next. If you're enjoying this story, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next chapter. Your support means the world. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one. The planet trembles. Above the fractured world of Vareth 9, fire and ice twist together like two warring tempests, a sight both terrible and beautiful. Commander Rian Holt walks toward the great chasm, a chasm that bleeds the planet's very essence. Beside him, the Frost Child keeps pace, her presence a strange comfort in this chaos. Below them, in the planet's exposed heart, red and blue light pulses like a living thing, a cosmic heartbeat echoing Rian's own. Every step sends a tremor through the ground, shaking loose another fragment of a past that isn't his. He feels them now, both powers, no longer just a premonition but a war raging inside his veins. The searing warmth of flame, the profound calm of frost. They are tearing him apart and rebuilding him all at once. The child, this small being of impossible power, looks up at him, her eyes ancient. You're close, she says, her voice a soft whisper against the planetary roar. The core will show you the truth. They reach the edge of the abyss, and a colossal pillar of light erupts from its depths, bathing them in its glow. The spiraling storms of fire and ice above converge, drawn down into a single perfect circle, the very symbol that has haunted Rian's visions. It hovers before them, a celestial sigil humming with a music not of this world. The pull, the strange magnetism he's felt for so long, is now an undeniable command. He takes one step forward and the world dissolves. The chasm, the storms, the child, all fade into blinding, all-consuming light. When his vision clears, he stands in a vast, impossible hall. Its walls are woven from glass and living flame, a cathedral at the heart of a star. And at its center, two figures await. The Fire Guardian stands tall and radiant, his form a shimmering inferno, yet his eyes hold an eternity of sorrow. Beside him, the Frost Guardian, calm and cold, her beauty as sharp and unforgiving as a winter shard. They look at Rian, not as a stranger, but as a long-awaited echo. In that shared gaze, their memories crash into his mind like a tidal wave. He sees the ancient war again, but this time, he sees it from their perspective, through their hearts. He feels their bond, a love as elemental as the forces they command. He feels their fear as a darkness threatened to consume all. And he feels the crushing weight of their mistake, a choice made in desperation that fractured the universe itself. You are our echo. The Frost Guardian's voice resonates in his mind, not through sound but through pure thought. Our final hope. The Fire Guardian's voice joins hers, a chorus of despair and determination. The oath must be reforged, or everything ends. Rian's own voice trembles as he steps closer, a mere mortal before gods. Tell me how. The Frost Guardian extends a hand, slender and carved from starlight and ice. To restore balance, one life must seal the oath. A chill, colder than any frost, runs down Rian's spine. What do you mean? The Fire Guardian's powerful form seems to waver, his voice breaking with a grief that has spanned millennia. The oath was made between two souls, a promise of unity. To renew it, one must burn and one must freeze, until only peace remains. The truth slams into Rian with the force of a physical blow. His heart sinks, a stone in the pit of his stomach. You're asking me to die? The Frost Guardian's expression is one of profound sadness. One must sacrifice or the universe will tear itself apart. But then a flicker of light, and the Frost Child appears at Rian's side, glowing with an intensity that outshines even the Guardians. No, she says, her small voice ringing with absolute authority. It doesn't have to be him. She turns to Rian, and for the first time he sees tears on her face, tears of pure ice that glitter as they roll down her cheeks. Let it be me. I am the last memory of Frost. My life is already borrowed. Rian stares, his mind reeling in shock and horror. No, you're just a child, he cries out, reaching for her. I am not a child, she whispers, her voice filled with a love that mirrors the Guardian's own. I am the part of her that remembers love. If I vanish, the balance returns. You can live. He grabs her small shoulders, his grip desperate. You think I'll let you die, after everything we've been through? The Fire Guardian lowers his gaze, unable to meet Rian's. If she does not, the fire will consume all. It is the only way. Rian stumbles back, shaking his head, rejecting the impossible choice laid before him. No. There has to be another way. As if in response to his denial, the planet itself roars in protest. The great hall shudders violently, cracking apart. Geysers of flame burst through the floor, and walls of ice shatter and collapse. The Guardians begin to fade, their forms flickering like dying embers, their voices echoing in his mind as a single, urgent plea. Choose quickly, Rian Holt. The stars are watching. The Frost Child steps forward, resolute. Her small hand glows with a brilliant white light. Let me go, Rian, please. At the same time, Rian feels the heat in his chest surge, becoming an uncontrollable inferno. The fire crawls up his arms, his skin cracking under the strain as his body becomes a battlefield. He can barely breathe. If I take your place, I can stop it, she insists, her voice calm amidst the chaos. The galaxy will live. He falls to his knees, a scream torn from his throat as fire and frost wage their final war within him. He hears the Guardians whispering, their voices a final fading truth. One must fall so the other may rise. But through the agony, a spark of defiance ignites in Rian's soul. No, he growls through clenched teeth. Not this time. He forces himself to his feet, a monumental effort of will. His eyes burn, one of liquid gold, the other of shimmering silver. He looks at the child, then at the dying sky visible through the crumbling hall. Humanity made this oath, he declares, his voice ringing with a power that is entirely his own, and humanity will fix it, together. He grabs the child's glowing hand. Their powers collide. Blue frost and red fire erupt, swirling into a blinding vortex of light. The Guardians cry out in shock, but Rian holds firm, his grip unbreakable. You said one must die, he shouts into the storm of creation and destruction. Then let both live instead. Fire and frost, inside me. The light explodes, a shockwave that shakes the planet to its very core. And then, silence. The raging firestorm on the surface fades. The blizzard stops. For the first time in millennia, Vareth 9 grows quiet. His body glows faintly, a perfect balance of half flame, half ice. The child lies beside him, breathing softly, peacefully. He touches his chest. Beneath his skin, the oath symbol burns, whole and complete again. The Guardian's voices echo one last time, not from the hall, but from the universe itself. They are no longer sorrowful, but proud and gentle. You broke the rule, but kept the promise. Perhaps that is what it means to be human. Rian looks to the sky. The vast alien fleet still hangs there, but their weapons are powering down, their threat neutralized as the planet's energy stabilizes. For a single perfect moment, the universe holds its breath. A faint smile touches Rian's lips. The oath reforged, and humanity remembered. The war was over. A new balance was struck, not by sacrifice, but by unity. And in the quiet heart of the galaxy, a new legend was born. Thank you so much for joining us on this epic journey. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more adventures. We'll see you in the next one. For the first time in centuries, silence blankets Vareth 9. The planet, once a symphony of chaotic storms, now holds its breath. The perpetual fires cool, the biting frosts soften. In this newfound stillness, a single sound echoes through the scarred landscape, a heartbeat, steady, strong, and undeniably alive. Commander Rian Holt's eyes flutter open. He's lying at the epicenter of the planet's great scar, a massive chasm carved by eons of conflict. A strange dichotomy marks his body. One half glows with the intensity of molten rock, the other shimmers with the ethereal blue of crystalline ice. Steam billows from his armor, simultaneously melting the frost on the ground and scorching the earth beneath it. He is no longer just Rian Holt, no longer entirely human. He has become something more. Beside him, a small figure stirs. It's the Frost Child, a native of this world, her eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. Rian, you did it, she whispers, her voice filled with awe. Rian pushes himself up, his movements slow and deliberate. On his chest, the mark of the oath burns with a vibrant light, a perfect circle where flame and snow entwine, spinning gently like a living star. He can feel the two immense powers coursing through him, a wild, untamed river of energy, yet somehow perfectly balanced. I can feel everything, he says, his voice a soft rumble. The fire churning deep within the core, the frost forming in the clouds. I can even feel the heartbeat of this planet. A weak smile touches the child's lips. You carry them both now, fire and frost, united in a single soul. Rian looks down at his hands. One glows like a forge radiating heat. The other looks as if it were carved from a glacier, cold and sharp. He feels their primal urges, the fire's insatiable desire to burn and consume, and the frost's chilling wish to freeze and preserve. It is only his human will, the core of who he is, that holds these opposing forces in a tense, fragile harmony. If this is what it means to be a guardian, he says, his gaze lifting to the horizon, then I'll carry it for all of us. But the peace is short-lived. The sky above darkens once more, not with storm clouds, but with the menacing silhouettes of warships. Hundreds of them blotting out the stars. The Rememberers, humanity's ancient and relentless enemy, have arrived. Their chilling, synthesized message cuts through the comms, devoid of any emotion. Unknown entity detected. Human energy signature confirmed. Target designated for elimination. Rian looks up, his expression calm, his resolve unshakable. The Frost Child watches him, her fear palpable, yet her trust in him absolute. They think humanity is a curse, Rian says quietly, a steely edge to his voice. Let's show them what it really means. He raises his hands. The ground beneath them begins to tremble. Spirals of brilliant red and azure light erupt from the planet's surface, swirling around him. weaving themselves into an armor of pure energy, an armor of fire and ice. The clouds part, and with a guttural roar, a beam of pure, unified power shoots from Rian's chest straight into the heavens. The alien fleet retaliates instantly. A torrent of plasma blasts, hundreds of searing projectiles, rains down toward the surface. But before they can find their mark, Rian makes a subtle gesture with his hand. The very air around the incoming blasts crystallizes. Every single bolt freezes in mid-flight, suspended in time, glowing like a constellation of captive stars. Then, with a flick of his other wrist, he ignites them. Fire races through the frozen matrix of light. The sky erupts. A silent, breathtaking explosion unfolds, a vibrant sea of red, blue, and gold, as if a new sun is being born in the atmosphere of Vareth 9. The alien warships melt, warp, and shatter, one by one, consumed by the silent, beautiful inferno. Their commanders, their fleets, their entire civilization, none of them could comprehend what they were facing. They saw only a lone figure on the planet below, glowing like a vengeful god, a human who had bent the fundamental forces of the universe to his will. When the blinding light finally fades, the battlefield is quiet once more. A fine ash, like dark snow, drifts down from the sky. Rian falls to one knee, breathing heavily, the immense power receding. His body trembles violently under the strain of what he has just unleashed. The Frost Child rushes to his side, her small hands hovering over him. Stop. You have to stop. You're burning yourself from the inside out. A faint smile plays on Rian's lips. I can handle it. For now. She shakes her head, tears welling in her luminous eyes. You can't stay like this. Fire and frost don't belong in one body. You'll destroy yourself. Rian's gaze drifts upward, past the lingering smoke toward the distant, serene stars. Maybe, he concedes, but if I can keep the oath alive just a little longer, if I can ensure this balance holds, it's worth it. The child's voice breaks. What will happen to you? He looks down at her, and for a moment his voice is soft and entirely human again, the voice of the commander she once knew. I'll become part of the balance. Maybe I won't exist as Rian Holt anymore, but the fire and the frost will stay together. This planet will be safe, that's enough. He pushes himself to his feet, the wind beginning to swirl around him. A strange, impossible breeze that is both warm and cold at once. The planet itself seems to pulse with a soft, healthy glow beneath his feet, healed and at peace. Tell them, he says, his voice regaining its power. Tell the galaxy that humanity didn't destroy the stars. We saved them. The child nods, tears streaming down her face as she makes a silent, solemn vow. I will, I promise. Rian smiles, a genuine final smile. Good, then my job's done. He turns and begins to walk toward the horizon, toward that impossible line where fire meets frost. With each step, the light emanating from his body grows brighter, more intense. His voice echoes one last time across the silent plains, a message for all time. We are not gods. We are human. Fire when we love, frost when we fear, but always human. His form dissolves into pure light which soars into the sky, splitting into two distinct trails, one of blazing crimson, one of brilliant sapphire. They dance and weave around each other before finally merging into a single radiant star. A new star, destined to orbit Vareth 9 forever, a constant glowing vigil in the dark. The Frost Child watches until the last trace of him is gone, her whisper carried away by the wind. Goodbye, Rian Holt, Father of Fire. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next journey into the incredible worlds of science fiction. See you next time. Centuries passed. The devastating storms of Vareth 9 never returned. The planet slept in a newfound peace, half fire, half frost, balanced for eternity. High above its now tranquil skies, a single solitary star still burned, glowing with a mesmerizing mix of red and blue. Across the galaxy, people came to know it as the last light. Far, far away, the old war that had ravaged countless systems finally ended. The enigmatic race known as the Rememberers vanished, fading into the mists of cosmic history. Worlds, scarred and broken, began the long, arduous process of rebuilding. Yet, a curious phenomenon was reported by every traveler who dared to cross the deep, dark voids of space. They spoke of a soft, ethereal light that seemed to follow them, a constant companion no matter how far they went. Some even swore it whispered a name on the solar winds: Rian Holt. On a remote mining colony named Argus IV, a group of young explorers gathered around the warm glow of a campfire, their faces lit by the dancing flames. The oldest among them, a seasoned leader named Captain Lyra Holt, began to tell a story, a legend she had heard countless times since she was a child. Long, long ago, she began, her voice low and steady, a human commander made an oath between fire and frost. He willingly gave up his life so that two warring sides could finally live in peace. They say his heart became a star, the last light of Vareth 9. Her crew listened in silence, their eyes drawn to the ship's viewport, where the distant red-blue glow was clearly visible against the black velvet of space. One of the younger explorers, his voice barely a whisper, asked, "Was he real, Captain? Or is it just an old myth?" A faint, knowing smile touched Lyra's lips. "My family says we carry his name. Maybe that's just a story, too. But every time I look at that light, I feel like he's still watching over us." She turned her gaze toward the window, her reflection staring back at her. For a fleeting, impossible second, the reflection in the glass shifted. A figure materialized beside her, a being half made of incandescent fire, half of crystalline frost. He was smiling softly, a look of profound peace on his face, and then, as quickly as he had appeared, he was gone. Back on Vareth 9, deep beneath the silent frozen plains, two ancient beings walked together. The Guardian of Fire and the Child of Frost moved through a world now transformed, covered in magnificent glowing crystals that pulsed with a gentle light. The planet was finally quiet. Both beings looked up, their gazes fixed on the same red-blue star hanging in the sky above them. "He kept the oath," the Guardian said, her voice a soft, resonant hum. "He gave his very soul for balance." The Frost Child nodded, a gesture of solemn agreement. "And humanity remembers." The Guardian placed a hand over her heart, a gesture of profound respect. "Then the oath still lives." As if in response, a warm wind swept through the icy landscape, a gentle, living breeze. In that moment, every crystal on the planet shone brighter, pulsing in unison, as if Vareth 9 itself was taking a deep, contented breath. Centuries later, in a distant, state-of-the-art observatory, a team of human scientists detected a strange, unprecedented signal. It originated from the region of space once known as Vareth 9. The signal repeated a single, clear line, over and over, in a voice that was neither machine nor purely human, but something in between. "The fire and frost are one. Protect the balance. Remember humanity." The scientists looked at each other, a stunned silence falling over the control room. Finally, one of them whispered, his voice filled with awe. That voice, it sounds human. And so, the legend of Rian Holt was reborn and began to spread across the galaxy once more. Songs were written, their melodies echoing the tale of sacrifice and unity. Children learned to draw a simple, powerful symbol, a circle, one half red, the other blue. Every new ship that launched from Earth destined for the stars carried a small mark of that oath on its hull, a promise to remember. Because humanity had learned one fundamental truth from Rian Holt, that strength without mercy is nothing but a fire without warmth, consuming all it touches. And mercy without strength is a frost without life, beautiful, but fragile and inert. Only when they exist together can they truly endure. As our view pulls back, rising above the sprawling, star-dusted galaxy, we see the red-blue star burning brighter than all others, its light touching countless worlds, a beacon of hope in the vast darkness. A whisper crosses the cosmos, a voice calm, steady, and proud. We are human, fire when we love, frost when we fear, but always human.